Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for a new Intersecting Wills event, an awkward pair featuring Maria from Final Fantasy II. The event marks the debut of Maria FR. The event synergy units are Maria, Ceodore, Prompto, and Seymour. All event characters will be getting their force enhancements. Maria and Ceodore will be getting their C90 rework. We will be fighting 2 Beelzebub which has 130 million HP each. There are no major resistances. The turn requirement is 60. The HP requirements is 5000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Lunafreya, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Selpha that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. For this month, 5 of the events will feature a form of elemental lockout. Throughout the fight, the bosses resist all elements except for wind, holy and non-elemental attacks. You can still bypass this with Brave cap damage or Rainbow, Brave gains mechanics like Kate Sith or Charlotta. On the screen, I have listed down the examples of the key utility that you can consider for this fight. As mentioned earlier, the boss will have 999% brave damage resistance against all elements except for wind, holy, and non-elemental. To avoid the issue, you can just bring non-elemental, wind or holy units. I have listed down 8 units that are Ediher wind-based and holy-based. Bartz and Fujin offers party-wide wind enchant while Minwoo, Ceodore, Yuri, Eiko, and Paladin Cecil offer holy. The boss key attack Flying Noise feature a hard-hitting AoE Brave plus HP attack. It is best to control its Brave with Brave control utility. Maria's hit at debuffs offer a great control mechanism. Other debuffs that you can consider are Cater and Setzer. Sap or poison debuffs which lower the Brave gains are also useful here. As the boss will warp their turns at certain HP thresholds, doing a hit and counter run is a good strategy option here. Counter tanks like Gladio, Orin, and Golub works well for this fight. Follow-up attackers like Dorgan, Cisnei, Freya, and Kane also works well if you are doing a blitzkrieg run with nuker units like Rinoa or Tifa. The boss could inflict an annoying confused debuff. So debuff evasion units like Aerith, Aphma, Selpha, and Lena are good here. Alternatively, you can choose to cleanse the debuffs with debuff cleansers like Ceodore, Pernello, and Yuna. The boss has a HP poison aura with its force time and the HP requirement is a tight one. Do bring adequate burst healing or stacking HP regen buffs, otherwise you could end failing the HP requirements if you weren't careful. Alternatively, it is to nuke the boss down first before they activate theirs. As we are no longer have Lufania plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If your party has low force levels, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss will gain 999% brave damage against all elements except wind, holy and non-elemental brave attacks. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, the boss will use its force ability and activates its force time for 8 turns. The boss force ability, Flying Noise ++ is a brave gain followed by an AoE HP attack. The brave gain equates to 200% of the boss' current initial brave stats. It is a non-guaranteed hit HP attack, so you can evade it. Alternatively, you can negate with damage mitigation calls like Ragin, Reno, 9 or Warrior of Light LDCA, or freeze its Brave Gain with Setzer and Cater. Upon using the Force ability, the boss will enter into its Force time, where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 8 on its gauge. When the Force time is activated, the bosses will gain an enhancement that applies a 10% max HP poison field effect. As the HP requirements is 5000, it is important to ensure you have adequate HP healing from HP regen buffs. You can stack HP regen buffs so the effect will be minimized. Otherwise, you need to kill off the boss first before the boss activate its Force ability. To deal the boss Force weakness, you need to use a ranged Force ability that heals HP. HP recovery from passive, buff or bonus sphere are excluded. Doing so, you will pause the boss Force time effect. FR that meet this condition is Maria and Ceodore. Now let's go through the fight key mechanics. As mentioned earlier, the boss will warp their turns forward when you have passed a certain HP threshold. Cut in turn order will activate at the 89%, 69%, 49%, and 29% HP threshold. Upon activation, the boss will move its turn forward. The warp doesn't trigger if you breach the threshold while in summon or burst phase. It is best to keep the boss Brave in check. Traps, debuffs, or a counter-oriented setup works well here. Like all other bosses, the boss also features a standard attack rotation cycle. It will start off with Confuse, a single target Brave plus HP attack. It will grant the boss a 50% HP damage resist buff for 2 turns, along with inflict a framed poison debuff and 50% chance of a framed confused debuff for 2 turns. The confused debuff can be annoyance, so it is best to prevent debuff evasion, or block all your buff slot with 6 framed buffs to handle that. The second part is the most dangerous move of the boss arsenal. Flying Noise is an AoE ranged Brave plus HP attack. It will grant the boss 50% turn rate up for 1 turn. Lastly, the boss will end its turn with Rend, a single target Brave attack. It will revert to using Confuse on its following turn, thus continue the cycle. Avoid triggering the boss Force time on the turn when the boss is readying to use Flying Noise, otherwise do embrace for your party to face back-to-back AoE HP attacks. We have come to the last part of the guide. Before I end the guide, let's cover a bit on the featured FR unit, Maria. The FR conditions is an off-turn type FR that focus on Brave control and healing. If you are using Maria FR, it is important to upkeep both Maria's key debuffs, Hit It and Explode on the bosses. Now let's quickly go through her FR conditions. 1. Recover HP off turn will grant 2% Force time bonus per ally. Maria Hit It trap debuff will ensure you meet the criteria whenever the boss is about to take a turn. You will get 6% when the trap's healing triggered. Other healing traps like Minwu and Firion also work well here. Do note that HP regen buff also help to meet the off-turn condition, but it will be added to the HP damage bonuses when your character takes a turn. 2. The second condition is that your party member heal HP, you will get 5% Force time bonus per ally. An AoE healing ability on all party members will uptick the Force time by 15%. 3. The last condition is that the enemy's turn end with its Brave at 0 or broken. Maria's Explode debuff features a powerful sap effect that scales 300% from Maria's initial Brave. Debuffs like Ferris Enchanting Dance will also help to reset boss current Brave to 0. Upon activating the Force time, other than healing the party and inflicts her Hit It debuff for 10 turns, Maria Force time will grant Brave damage up against single target and raises the cap for Brave damage and max Brave for the party. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.